got my laces tied. My trusty podcast by my side. If you wanna talk fun, it's the place to be. Yeah, it's the drop, D-R-O-P.
Without further ado, I'll hand it over to the stars of the show, Thomas and Robbie from Believe in the Run.
I thought
You can see they wanted the song.
Actually, I thought Ben and Charlotte were the stars of the show tonight. Like, we came up here to see you.
Yeah, right, we came to see you.
Yeah. So basically, when we first talked to Adidas, we were really excited to do something to bring like other people into the environment that we get to see when we visit the headquarters or talk to the people that are in charge of making the shoes. And we wanted to bring some of the people from our audience in to see what it's like during a shoe launch. So this was kind of what we came up with to do, like a special thing for you guys to see what we get to see, and then also afterwards mingle, talk, have some fun. But this is the exciting stuff that we get to do with some of the brands, and we really appreciate Adidas and you guys inviting us here tonight.
Yeah, so just some quick introductions. I'm Robbie from Believe in the Run. No big deal. This is Thomas from Believe in the Run. Also no big deal. The real big deal, Charlotte Heidemann. She is the Global Category Director for Running Footwear at Adidas. She's based out of their headquarters in Germany. And then we also have Ben Hodge, which, let me get this is a long title, Senior Vice President of Product and Merchandising at Adidas in North America.
You nailed it.
Is that right?
Nailed it.
All right. I mean, I read it off the card. It better be right. So yeah, like Thomas said, we're excited to talk about the Boston 13, but not just that, but a lot of the stuff that goes on with the design. And I'm allergic to sound.
I'm trying to see if it's me.
And just what goes on at Adidas, and a little bit about everyone here. So let's start off with Charlotte. Charlotte, I think the first time that we met you or kind of talked to you about some of the shoe content or shoe and product overviews were with the
Evo Pro.
The Evo Pro 1, which you can see around on some of these posters, or Pro Evo 1 on some of the posters over here. Does that mean we're done? Are we like? Right. I mean, someone like caught a foul on us. Like,
Or it means someone's stealing.
Yeah, that could be. This was a Forever 21 store, so it's like.
Turns out it wasn't forever.
Yeah. It lasted as long as the theft alarms could keep it. Anyway, so let's talk about kind of your. What is happening? Let's talk about your background in running, and not just at Adidas, but how you got into running in general.
Sure. Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks for coming today. My name is Charlotte, as mentioned before. I've been with the brand since 10 years, so actually a third of my life. So a lot of dedication to what we do. 8 years in running, been through many of the different franchises that we have, and finally now in the Adizero space, which is really exciting. As you mentioned before, one of the highlights for me was the Adizero Adios Pro Evo 1 that we introduced. It was also the first time you wanted to talk to me.
I turned down all the other offers. I was like, no.
So you came in for the exciting stuff. And,
It's not like you call a lot.
Yeah. You talked to my boss, that's why. Yeah. Been in running for a while. I got into running, I used to play field hockey, but with work and everything, I couldn't finish or continue with the training, so I got into running, and now, caught the running bug.
Nice.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. And Ben, what about you?
I grew up as a track runner, so 800-meter runner. So the normal question is, so you run a marathon? Standard reply, I'm not stupid. Apologies to anyone out there who's about to. Sound. So I did that. I also did a degree in sports science in the UK. For anyone listening, a university called Loughborough, and I ran for a track club in Brighton called Phoenix. It's a pretty famous guy who helped start. So started through that, and then degree in sports science plus running. My first job into the industry was as a tech rep for one of the other brands, and then I worked there and moved to another brand, and then I've been with this brand for 20 years now. So
Nice.
a hell of a long time, 20 years this year.
So this is something, you mentioned you were a tech rep, and if anyone here is ever interested about how to get into the running industry, I swear, like, the best route is always,
I mean, if we look out here, how many of you guys have been tech rec?
like, because there's a
Yeah,
bunch
there
here.
we go.
But like
I knew
just
that- I knew that.
to get in with like shoe marketing, design, and brand, I feel like
Foot
that's
in the
like
door?
yeah, a literal foot in the door. Would you say like if someone is looking to do that, is that the best path?
Well, everyone's got their own way in, right?
Sure.
If you want to design shoes, maybe different, but there's many retailers sat in the audience, right? And tech reps are the people that come in that normally come from a running background, so they want to go for a run in the morning. So you're a runner, and then a tech rep comes in, and you're told you need to go for running with retailers, get paid, and then you need to talk about shoes that you love. And by the way, you get given free shoes.
Yeah.
It's a pretty incredible start if you're a runner to go and do that. But with hindsight, you have to geek out on the shoes every day and talk to runners on the shop floor. So yeah, for sure, if the opportunity comes, I'd highly recommend it to anyone. Good way into the industry.
There you go.
All right. Before we get into the shoe,
Okay.
and I'd also want to get a little more detail on the Adizero line that happens to be my favorite line with Adidas, which you're responsible for. We originally, I was working on a painting for the shoe to release. We shipped it up here. And like everything right now, I don't know if there was porch thieves or what, but it's got signed for downstairs, but never showed up. So Jared's going to show you a facsimile of it. It really is. It's a photo from my phone of the painting. And we were celebrating the Boston 13. I got into painting running shoes as kind of like a weird way to just relax. And so this was my 7th painting. So you can see Jared's got it here. There's little details that we added in. In the lower corner, you can see an elevation map of Boston. You've got a little sketch of the original Boston shoe. Someone asked me what the 13 was for, Ben, earlier. And it's the Boston 13, it's the shoe. That was good. And then this is the building near the finish line you might be familiar with. And then donuts are Jared's favorite food, so I wanted to throw in something for him because I love him. But yeah, so that painting, if anybody sees it out there, we are looking for it.
Yeah.
It actually cost $500 to ship it up here, so you would think they would take a signature, maybe?
Yeah, if you work for UPS, maybe find a different employer. Although FedEx, I don't know if they're that much better.
But this picture might make more sense to you at the end of the night when you maybe grab some swag.
Yeah.
So thanks, Jared.
You have to stand there the rest of the time.
And if you don't know, we didn't really introduce him. That's Widefoot Jarrett, our specialty. If you get a chance to talk to him, he's actually much funnier than all of us. So he should probably be doing the show.
For sure.
But thanks for taking a moment to check out the painting. But
Yeah.
let's get into the star of the show. Want to talk about the shoe?
Sure. Yeah.
All right, so this one, I've had ups and downs with this shoe, but I really love the 12, and it came back to really be a shoe that I used a lot in my daily training. Also, when I went on trips, that was a shoe I packed because it really is so versatile. And I know that there was some feedback from our audience, and you guys kind of addressed some of that in the shoe, so it might be best to start with the upper. What do you think?
Sure, we can do that. I mean, as you mentioned, we did have some up and downs. Boston 10 was good, Boston 11, not our favorite shoe, but finally gained trust back with Boston 12. So of course we want to continue that journey with Boston 13. And one of the biggest feedbacks from Boston 12 was that we need to make the upper more comfortable. So even though it's a training shoe, the tongue, which is very thin, and the heel was a little bit uncomfortable the longer you would run in it. So now we focused a lot on simplifying the lacing and putting a little bit more padding into the heel and also the tongue, so that no matter how often you train in the shoe, you don't need to worry about comfort at all. So that was one of the biggest feedbacks when it comes to the upper.
Was there a reason that the shoe originated as like Boston was a race day shoe you were using for Boston. Was there a reason you guys transitioned it to more of a trainer slash not as much of a race day shoe?
It's always been a tempo. So back in the day, was it 2008, the first one? If you look back at the Adidas 1, that was the racing, and then flats were flats. So in theory, this was the neutral tempo shoe. Next to it was its stablemate, the tempo. So there was a support version and there was a neutral version. So it's always been, I think as we all know, racing shoes have changed over time. And so what is a racing shoe, what is a tempo shoe? Now something like an Adidas Pro 4 can be used for race day, but also training. So it's changed, but it's always been a tempo shoe and still is, of course, which is that train fast category, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, so let's get into the secret sauce here. A lot of people are curious about the foam. I actually think I got it wrong. I think in the latest review, I said this was the Pro 3 foam, like it is in the Evo SL. It's not.
No, so the Lightstrike Pro is actually the foam that we also use in Boston 12. So we haven't changed the recipe for that one. And then in combination with the energy rods and the Lightstrike, which we have underfoot, we have the whole tooling. And what is new for Boston 13 is that we actually have more Lightstrike Pro in the forefoot. So we have 13.8, which is a very German number. Very specific, very specific. But we can't round it up to 14. So 13.8% more Lightstrike Pro underfoot, which really gives you this Adizero snappy feeling, even though it's a training shoe. So that was one of the bigger updates that we had.
What's with this doohickey?
So that's part of the energy rods, as you can see. Honestly, it doesn't have any benefit besides showing the tech on the side. So when the shoe is on shelf, it was important for us to identify that the energy rods are still inside. Okay. Because not everyone would look from the bottom. Also comparing to other shoes that we have, such as Evo SL, right, that don't have the energy rods, we wanted to highlight that Boston is really a techie and geeky shoe.
Awesome. All right, so a little visible technology going on there. All right, and let's get down to the midsole here. We've got the Conti rubber we're familiar with. I'm not as familiar with light traction, but I know that we're using that on race day as well. So can you tell us why you have this mix of rubber on the
Sure.
outside?
I mean, here it's a pretty small piece, but this is light traction. Light traction is a technology we introduced on the Adizero Adios Pro 4 last year in Berlin. And light traction has still the same grip as our other outsoles, but for our race day shoes, it's very thin and very light. So for Boston, we decided to then combine it with our Continental thicker rubber because it's a training shoe and it's also worn on other surfaces than just purely on the road. You never really know where the people train. So we have light traction in combination with the Continental rubber. I think it's better to show on the finished product.
All right. So in the process of designing the shoe and having the brief of the shoe, who's the runner that this shoe is built for? Who is the specific audience that the Boston 13 is trying to hit?
I mean, this is really one of the shoes that has the biggest audience within the Adizero range. It's for someone who's training every day, but already a little bit experience with running. So it wouldn't be the shoe for someone just getting into running just because of all the technology that it has. And we always position it in a way that it's built for training for race day. So if you plan to run a marathon, this would be the optimal shoe to train.
Awesome. So this is your companion to the Pro 4 or the Evo Pro?
Not sure. Not sure.
Right. What's the companion to the Evo Pro then?
I would say this is the cousin, and maybe, to Evo Pro 1, we have Evo SL, of course, right, which not only looks like the Pro Evo 1, but also has this identity of simplicity and lightweight and uses a different Lightstrike Pro foam. So those two belong together, and then Pro 4 and Boston 13.
All right. Robbie, you want to talk about the Evo SL?
Yeah. So speaking of the Evo
Wait, one other thing. She did say Evo Pro 1.
Pro Evo 1.
Pro Evo 1. She said, what I'm trying to say, she said 1, which indicates.
Oh, maybe there's a
There's a 2. Maybe.
Well, if you paid attention.
Fishing out.
If you paid attention.
Not happening. right. If we pay attention on Monday, maybe?
Maybe, but if
Maybe.
you have paid attention already at Berlin Half, you might have seen something.
That's true. That is true.
So
Didn't somebody win something at Berlin Half?
maybe.
Yeah.
I think a female runner did pretty well.
She
Yeah.
did.
In a
She
certain-
broke the
certain
course
shape.
record. So
All right.
Another one for the Evo.
Yeah.
All right, but we happen to also love, as much as we love the Boston 13 and 12, the surprise shocker for us, Robbie.
Yeah, I mean, the Evo SL, which if you've read any of our reviews or pay attention to running shoes at all, it's probably, it seems like it's one of the hottest shoes at the moment. I mean, I see there's a pair right there. I'm sure there's a bunch hanging around.
You got to
Yeah,
stand up and
there's
dance in
one.
the middle of
Yeah,
that.
you got to do it.
Fire code be damned.
Yeah, you got to do a handstand to show everyone. But that's been, I feel like, a huge hit. I'm interested to. I'm always interested to see what designers or product managers, the reaction. Like, is this something you expected, or is it? I know you want to say like, yeah, we knew it was a good shoe, but I feel like it's been like a really, really, really good shoe.
Well, before you answer, I want to get into one thing. There's two things. One, Robbie didn't get his size in Berlin when we got him.
Right.
And we were all raving about it.
Look at this foot; it's tiny.
We were all raving about it, and Robbie was kind of getting tired of hearing about it.
Yeah, I was, and I honestly didn't believe you to some degree.
That's where I was getting
I
at.
was like, ah, don't know,
Didn't I
this-
hear a rumor that it didn't get Shoe of the Year in 2024 because of Robbie? He refused to
Pretty
let it
much.
in?
That is
That
So we're
is
clear.
true. There was a little
It was a
bit.
technicality. You need to either release shoes earlier in the year or like in the beginning of the next year. Don't do this
Or in
December.
smaller
But
sizes.
Robbie still gave it to the SL though.
Yeah.
So, but when we get down to it, the other question I have is like when we first came to Berlin, there was a lot of talk of it as not being a like pure running shoe, which it turns out
Yeah,
it's one of our favorites.
yeah. I mean, I feel like it's just one of those shoes that can do everything. It really does do everything, but it just feels. It's hard to describe. There's just a certain feeling underfoot that it's one of those things you always try to find, and then I feel like when you find it, you're like, this feels so good.
Yeah, Charlie here ran the marathon right after getting them.
Yeah.
Charlie, what do you think? You got to yell.
I love them, yeah.
All right.
Wore them for 3 miles and then wore them the next day for the marathon. So.
Yeah.
Proof there.
There you go.
Wow.
But
Congrats.
all that to say, so has that been kind of surpassed your expectations of what you initially had for the shoe?
I mean, if I look tired, then it's probably because of that shoe. It
You don't,
has,
by the
yeah, it has. We had high expectations, but you really never know how it adapts to the consumer, right? And which consumer you actually end up hitting with the shoe. So, yeah.
Well, I feel like it has just such almost a classic look to it, even though it's a new product.
Like it's a running samba.
Yeah. And if nobody, if you see, that's the shoe we're
Great.
talking about on the wall right there, if you can't see it up close. But anyways, I feel like that's just been such a great shoe, and it's nice to have that, because I feel like even in the past 5 years, I feel like especially the Adi Zero line has just progressed in such like a upward, up to the right fashion. I feel like it's
Like the
been,
emoji.
yeah, pretty much.
Well, this brings up a
None of
good
the
question, though. You guys get to run in a lot of product, obviously. You're probably a lot of times testing product. But are there shoes that you go back to? Like, is there a particular one in the Adidas Zero line that you have as a favorite?
Yeah.
Ben.
Evo SL.
Yeah.
There's, I guess, to your point, I guess you've said it as well when you were talking about it recently. You get to test a lot, right? And it's a privilege working in the industry because you get competitors as well to do. The question is which ones you pick up when you're not thinking about it, right? And recently that's been the Evo SL. If you want to go quick, it responds. If you want to, you just want to have a fun, slow but still feel cool, it responds. If you want to run errands, it looks good. And if you just want to look good, and that's been, I think, a bit of the secret sauce of this. Yeah. That, of course, like Adi Zero largely talks to the few, the fastest people. But now you get something like a Pro 4, which has started talking to the many. But with Evo SL, we've got also a shoe that if you just want to look good, you can wear it, and it's got the comfort of a running shoe, but looks classic like an SL. So you've got something for everybody. And if we think about it, like the audience here is here through the very specific distance of a marathon. But if we take generally any athlete out there, right? And if we take Gen Z in the US, there's like 20 million Gen Z that consider themselves as athletes. across multiple sports, the consistent thing is they all run, or they all have a runner in their bag, right? And so now you've got a shoe that can talk to someone who wants to play football but run to keep fit. They want to run a marathon or run every day or just run errands. So the ability to have a shoe that does that is pretty special, and it's hard to design for that. But when you find it something like that, it is pretty special, right?
Yeah.
What about you, Charlotte?
My favorite is the Adios 5 or 6, when the Adios really used to be that flat racing shoe. And the funny thing is, if you wear it now, like running in this high stack all the time, and then you take that out for a spin, it feels like you don't even have a shoe on, just because it's so low on the ground, and it still has boost, and it's really this torsion system. So it feels completely different. It almost feels wrong in a way.
Painful?
Painful. The calves are not happy afterwards. But that's my favorite shoe. Yeah.
All right.
Speaking of other favorites, so we're back in the green room, or whatever that is, the old changing room at Forever 21.
Wow, you made us sound fancy.
Yeah, it was all white. You, Charlotte, you were commenting on the snack selection in America, which I gotta say, the snack selection was pretty solid back there. As
Don't
somebody,
tell them that. They're all good. There will be snacks over there.
Yeah. We'll bring, if you ask, I'll bring some out for you. But I'm interested, because you're from Germany, and Ben, you're from England, or from the UK, and but you live in Portland now.
I do.
What's like,
The
I'm
London
totally
of
getting away from
US.
shoe talk. I'm done with shoe talk. What's like been your favorite, what's your favorite thing in that the US has, like snack or sandwich wise, that maybe
Are we
like,
bringing up Charlotte's sandwich?
Yeah,
I thought we
maybe-
promised that we
maybe.
wouldn't.
She's gonna kill me.
that like you can't get over in Europe?
Yeah, now Ben, you can tell the story.
No, you tell him.
I mean, Ben told us the story. Ben, you gotta tell the story now.
No. Come
right.
on, Charlotte.
Yeah, so we went to Pittsburgh for the first time. Ben, Simon, who you might know as well, myself. And I took the guys to this famous sandwich place. What's it
I
called?
think it was Permane Brothers.
Yeah.
Which, if
And-
you're from Pittsburgh, you know what we're talking about.
And Ben is vegan,
Plant-based, yeah.
plant-based, and they only had pickles for him. So
And beer. Pickles and beer. They were
Pickles
and
and
beer. And I had this massive sandwich with fries inside, and Ben saw me and he was just like, she's never gonna eat that. And after 10 minutes, it was gone.
Gone.
Completely gone. So Ben loves to tell that story about
I
himself.
mean,
The sandwich was bigger than Charlotte's,
Yeah.
just so we're clear.
I gotta
They're
tell
huge.
you, she's coming off better in this story than you are. Eating pickle sandwiches.
You should have been forced to eat like the equivalent of pickles and bread, like just in a single sandwich.
I told you they came past and I said, is there anything on the menu I can eat? And the lady just replied, pickles, and walked straight back on. And I was like, no, really? Is there anything? And she then came back and went, beer. And then walked back here, and so I stopped there.
Yeah.
So pickles and beer was my
love
meal
it.
for that night.
What's like if I were to come over, because actually, you know what? I haven't been to England before, which
Okay.
is what would be like the go-to thing that I should get if I come over? Like what would be your
Don't say it.
recommendation?
So this is like, as an Englishman, you just put me in a tough spot, right? Because everyone will say like fish and chips or
You could say beer,
roast
I mean,
dinner
that's
or
fine.
fried breakfast.
What would a vegan get?
So I know
Tofu
what not
and
to
salad.
get.
No, you've got to, like everywhere, some of the fun things, the best things about visiting anywhere
Yeah.
is what the traditions. So growing up, I lived near the sea, and for anyone who knows Brighton, it's a beautiful, amazing place. And like fish and chips was what you had as a kid, going down to the seaside and eating out of newspapers. So the memories of food, like I think all of us, aren't necessarily the food, but it's the traditions that go with
The
it.
problem
right?
is now they put on a fake newspaper. Like, when you go. It's really weird. Not to be the Megan of the show, but I'm going to bring it back to running for a second.
My eating habits are not that
Correct.
insane.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a show on nutrition. That's the Megans over here. But back to running, like, one of the things that I think would be the most exciting part of your job, we brought up the recent half marathon that was done in an Evo shoe.
Evo.
Yeah. What is it like to see an athlete perform in your shoes? Like, what is that experience? Because to me, there'd be two things. Actually seeing something that you helped design, make it into production and hold it in your hands. And the next thing would be to see people actually executing in it and confident in your product. What's that experience like for you on a weekend like this?
I think that's something that never gets old. So you will always remember the moments where someone was wearing it and winning in it. But I think it's not only about the athletes. For me, a lot of times it's also the consumers, right? If we travel the world and you're in the middle of China somewhere and you see the 3 stripes and your product on feet of someone who's maybe just a normal runner, that's what excites me even more. Because the athletes, they have to wear it, right? The runners don't have to wear it, but they've chosen to wear it. And that's really special to me.
So do you sit there and count the start line or the finish line?
No, someone else does that.
What will you be doing on Monday?
I'm just gonna cheer and wait and sit and see what happens.
Awesome. What about you, Ben?
A lot of the audience out here are retailers, right? And retailers, as much as consumers, can be tough. So if a product's not, I'm looking at some smiling faces, right? So of course, a consumer's got the option to try different ones, right? But retailers, they get everything. And so when you put a shoe on, and Evo SL was one, obviously there may be another one coming out, and there's something we're working on. When you put those first prototypes on people's feet, and you just watch the smile. We did it to some of our sales reps who were sitting here recently on a new shoe we're working on, and just coming back and the smile on their face is like, that's special, right? Because most of us do running for fun, so when you can really put a smile on face and them like, I did not expect that, that's pretty special.
I mean, that's sort of similar to the pleasure that we get out of doing what we do. When we recommend a shoe to someone, or we say, hey, this shoe would make your experience better, and they try it on and they go for a run, and you get like somebody will email us back or text us and say, oh my God, this shoe does make running more enjoyable. And I think there could be nothing like higher in the sport than just making the sport easier for people and more enjoyable. And I think that shoes, that's what the magic is. And I think that's why we got sucked into it, was that it really is that tangible thing that, you know, every runner can talk about, bring it, recommend to friends, and it does become viral. And that's what was so exciting to me about trying some of the Adizero product this year.
And to your point, every runner, right? The nearest I'd felt like that was the Adidas Pro 4, and you put it on and it's incredible, right? Mm-hmm. But at $250, it's not for everybody, and it is a racing shoe, so it's not for everybody. So now you can put a $150 shoe on that still has that same pop and that same, wow, like getting out the door on an early Monday morning can be hard, but putting it on and still feeling that pop that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Recently,
Meg was in ER 2 days ago, and the doctor found out that we were running because we were asking if we could travel, because you know, she'd had something going on, and
she's looking at what you're about to disclose.
It's basically a sore throat, but when he found out we were running,
okay.
he asked for advice on shoes, and you know, we went through how many miles are you running a week, you know, what do you want to do. And Evo SL was the one I was like, this is the one you got to try. But yeah, so that is, I mean, for us, we feel lucky and fortunate to be part of this chain, that you guys get the start, and we get to be kind of like the end. And I'm sure that now that this one's done, you're already working on maybe 14, 15 is already getting worked on.
But
so
real quick, speaking of working on the next version of the shoe, one of the things that I really loved about the Adidas Pro 4 was that you didn't release it on just a timeline just for the sake of releasing it on a timeline.
like a year.
Yeah, like it's, you know, a lot of shoes are on either 1 or 2 year cycle. Sometimes it gets an upper update, then a more of an extensive update. But the Adidas Pro 4 really took a while to get from the 3 to the 4. And I think we even saw like 6 or 7 rounds of prototyping for the shoe. And could you talk a little bit about that? And why you decided to kind of do your best on that shoe? Like whereas a lot of brands just want to like make the next version turnover, and just kind of talk more about that development.
Yeah, sure. So for us, I mean, there's always 2 sides, right? There's the creation team, and then there's the business behind it. So I'm the creation team. The business, yeah, is a different topic. But for us, it's important that we only bring shoes to the market when we believe we're at like the top of the sphere, where we can say this is the best shoe, we can't get any better. So that's why we kept Pro 3 for a while in the market, because during the creation process of Pro 4, we've identified that we're not at that stage yet to bring it after our normal life cycle and to change it. And we've also learned from Boston that forcing to bring a model to the market, such as the Boston 11, is not the right thing to do. So I think that's the learning that you learn throughout the process, that business is one thing, and yes, we need a new shoe and we need more numbers, but then the creation is the second part of it, which is important as well. And that's why you would see products like the Adidas Pro Evo 1 just dropping in all of the sudden, because we felt like, okay, now it's ready, we're bringing it to market.
Which was great because there was no leaks. It was like,
Yeah.
boom, straight out.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites actually, because there was one pair, one side was somewhere, probably with testing, and the other side was always in a laundry bag that I had, because I thought, okay, so if I put it in a laundry bag, no one's ever gonna think there's something special inside. So I had a hotel laundry bag that just said laundry, and I carried the shoe around the world.
That's crazy.
And it's still in my home. It's the number one.
No way.
What we
One
had.
of one.
Wow.
I lost the laundry bag along the way. Patrick lost it, but yeah.
I'd get you one for my hotel.
Yeah, great, cool.
I mean, you keep mocking on the 11. I actually really like the upper of the 11 quite a bit on the Boston. I thought that was, I love it when you guys kind of bring in some retro overlays into it, and the like suede hits on that I thought were pretty sweet.
Okay, we can tell the design team sitting
Let's
somewhere.
just put it, yeah, we can put it on, you know, put it on.
That's why Boston's so special, right? Because everybody, not everybody, most people can talk to you about their favorites. Was it, you know, when it had boost in? Was it pre all that at the very beginning back in the early 2000s? Was it 10, 11? I liked 10 because it had more padding. I liked 12 because it was softer, right? Everyone, that's when you know you're working on a shoe that it means something.
Yeah.
When everyone can talk to a different iteration, that's pretty special,
Well,
right?
and was it the 8 and the 9 that had like the Boston
Yes.
logo all over?
The blue was.
There was the blue
I
with the
think,
gold logo, and then was it the
The
9 that
one
had the
before
all
that.
over?
No, I think it was your reversing.
The 8 and the 9? Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a nice nod to the race. You also talked about, we actually saw a Pro 4 before it was a Pro 4, and then it got yanked back and wasn't the Pro 4. So remember on the floor of the running event?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we remember one that might have almost made it.
But, and then, so speaking of Boston again, the colorway that we have here is a throwback, and kind of the colorway of the whole setup is a throwback to the 1991, like Adidas EQT, or Adidas equipment kind of campaign or colorway. So this is kind of a throwback to that, right?
Do you want me to? Yeah, equipment. So the logo was actually designed here back on the 3 bars. The brand was doing phenomenally well going back through time, and some of you have seen the 3 leaves. We call it the trefoil, which is now the lifestyle on your Samba. And they wanted to get back into sport. Right? All brands go through this period, and so this logo we see behind us was invented to be the badge of sport versus the badge of lifestyle.
Yeah.
In 1991, there's a gentleman called Peter Moore who designed this, and then the celebration jacket, of which many of you I'm sure are wearing or will buy to commemorate the 1991, was, I don't know if there's a picture around here, but it's downstairs. That was the original one. So the original logo, it had Boston on the back. So yeah, it's pretty special, and it's linked, of course, to this incredible race.
Yeah. This colorway brings me back to like, I guess I was 9 at the time. I feel like
Chuck E. Cheese.
early 90s, like this was it, you know? Yeah, Chuck E. Cheese.
Like you had a starter jacket with a hornet on the back.
That's the one I want. That's the one I wanted. Yeah, my parents didn't have the money to buy it. But yeah, it was, I don't know, I love the, it's like all coming back around. And then,
So, you know, we did say that we wanted to bring the audience into this a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know, Matt, is there an opportunity for, where's Matt? There he is.
There he is.
Is there an opportunity to let people ask Charlotte and Ben questions?
Testing. There is.
oh,
All right. Now, this is an awkward moment because we're going to ask if anybody has a question. And if nobody asks a question, I'm going to make Charlie ask a question.
or no, we'll just pick someone random from
Yeah.
the I don't care.
All right, we got one.
Oh,
We got a
right
bite.
here. A tribute. I like it.
That's okay. I'm comfortable speaking on a mic. We're good. Hello, friends.
Hello.
All right.
happy to be on the microphone for 3 seconds, but my question is, and Robbie might see this one coming, how durable is this shoe? Because, you know, your girl here, Juliana, she loves to eat up a shoe, and we got to know how durable this bad boy is. Please and thank you.
Durable for a dog, or what was the
For a shoe-eating monster specifically.
I think it's durable in general.
For someone who likes to eat shoes for breakfast.
Okay. So I can only talk to how durable it is for a runner. It is very durable. We don't give any recommendation of how long you can run in it, just because you never know what people do with the shoe. Just if your dog eats it, then it's not on us.
No, it's me.
No, it's you. Okay. So, yeah, we don't give any recommendation of how durable it is, but of course we go through the testing, internal testing. So.
Where do you wear out a shoe normally?
Usually the front of the shoe.
I mean,
So-
it's got the Conti
go
rubber
to-
on there.
Yeah, usually the Continental
Thick.
rubber is a good thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good. That's why we
With palm
placed
wear.
it there.
In my experience, because a lot of times we do put a shoe only through an amount of time for us to test it and then put it aside. For me, the Boston 12, and I don't know, this has a light traction that the Boston 12 didn't have, but for me, I couldn't kill that shoe. That shoe just, I took it with me a lot of places and all different types of like surfaces, and I really had a difficult time even putting a scuff on it.
I feel like
Great thing
that's
with
a
working
good
with
answer.
Continental, right? They're based near the headquarters in Germany, and obviously tire manufacturer, right? That's their job to create the best rubbers in the world, and obviously they've got to look after your car, so it's, you don't want that to wear out, and you definitely don't want to fall over in it, right? So it's yeah,
You
working
got the
with one of the
smile
best.
you wanted.
All right, if you guys know Charlotte, if you've ever been on a briefing with her, Charlotte is very professional and very stoic. So we said at the beginning of the day we wanted to get a smile.
Thomas's main aim was to make Charlotte smile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm German, that's why.
I like it.
So to the Germans.
I only speak when I want to.
That is an interesting thing about the Adidas headquarters is you go there and I thought it would all be Germans. And it's people from all over the world and all of them pretty much speak English, which is great for me.
Nice for ignorant Americans.
Do we have any other questions? And it could be anything. It could be about the sandwich. There
Right
we go.
behind you.
No,
Right
that's
behind
not
you.
pretty.
Thanks, guys. So the Evo SL really is like a sweetest sauce, best shoe. Really brought me back to Adidas. Do you think this is going to be a shoe that kind of becomes a line like an SL1, SL2? Or, I mean, this is kind of a please tell me what you're thinking. Or do you think this is going to be like the shoe, this is it, it'll help me decide how many pairs to buy?
So you're saying, should you stockpile on them? Yes, it's going to stay exactly the same until you bought like 20 pairs and then we'll change it. Hey, we're pretty lucky. That's the good and the bad about our industry, our jobs, right? The second something comes to market, Charlotte's already working on the next one. So it's always hard, something drops. So we can tell you that yes, there'll be iterations to come. That we keep the secret sauce. That's always the fun of it. How do you keep the secret sauce, but how do you add something that may be a little bit more weather resistant? Let's put it out there. Or how do we have something that maybe takes on board some of the evolution of the upper on the Pro 4? Or so how do you keep enough of it? A little bit of we talked of what you love, but also then you introduce the bits that may be a bit more weather resistant. My boss's biggest complaint, it gets very dirty. So let's say there might be one that's got a bit more of a ripstop upper in the works that survives.
You said something about the Pro 4?
Huh?
You said something about the Pro 4? You up around the Pro 4?
I get in trouble if I share it.
I have to tell you that for me, we get seated a lot of shoes to review. I actually purchased a second pair of Evo SL. So if I were you,
Which color?
I went with the black. I got all white, so I went with the black and white for. I was buying a pair for my son, and I was like, yeah, I'll just put that in the cart.
No one bought a women's 9. Just putting it out there.
All right, we got any other questions? There we go.
There you go.
Same row.
Moving back.
We're sticking in the same corner. Thank you for putting up this event, first of all. To both of you, what's your favorite part of bringing a shoe to market? It can be during development, it can be the release, it can be seeing how it performs. Deep question, I know.
For me, it's actually the moment where the team comes together and we go to the factory to create the product. It's not the end, where you have 35 media interviews with these wonderful guys.
We're only doing one.
Yeah, but I have 35. You're not the only one.
They thought they were special.
You could narrow it down.
Tell that the PR team, okay? For me, it's the trip to the factory with design, development, color design. Like everyone's sitting at one table. It looks like a hot mess. I'm very OCD, so I get very nervous when I see that table. But it's chatting about what we're going to change, how we're going to develop the shoe, and that's my favorite part of it.
I've got to say something different.
You're not coming to factory.
He's a business side. It's when the dollars start rolling in.
So many things I could say. The other part, putting it on someone's feet. Some of the sales reps stood behind you, and we were talking about a prototype. We were in LA a couple of weeks ago, and we got to put a prototype shoe, and the man's nodding, sat behind you, right? And knowing that be it retailers or sales reps, in this instance was, and seeing them put something on, and they're in the industry, either on our side or on the retailer side, and putting it on and coming back going, oh my God, that is it. Like there's this amazing feeling like that to me. And as a tech rep, yeah, it used to be on the shop floor, and so I get to see that with runners every day, but now I get that from the sales teams or the retailers who are trying it on. But it's that smile, just like that's pretty special, right? If you can make someone really love a shoe that therefore they're going to love to run in, that's pretty special.
Well, and then I'll give you some direct feedback from this morning from the Marathon Sports Shakeout.
Yeah, we were there.
3, 4, 5 people behind me that were testing the shoe started smiling, wide-eyed, completely white smile, everything. Oh my God, this shoe is so bouncy, it's so comfy, it's so nice. So congratulations.
Just so we're clear, that was the 13 because we had loads of others.
It was no, it was the 13.
You had the SL as well as the
No, it was the
44,
13,
right?
and I also am the owner of 3 pairs of Evo SLs by now. So
Thank you. It's amazing.
Patty purchases some of them.
I'm just going to echo what my man said. Thank you guys for putting this together. This is fantastic. Two-parter, one quickie is just what's the weight on these bad boys?
For a size 10.5, it's 9.8 or 231 grams.
It's 9.2, 260 grams.
But that's a sample size?
Yeah, UK.
Yeah, for 10.
Sorry.
US.
That I don't know.
Yeah, I do.
So the sample size of what obviously the industry would look at would be 9.2 versus for a men's size.
And then comparing that to everyone's favorite Evo SL, 'cause I don't remember.
That's 224. So 8.1 ounce.
Okay, not too much. And then
I have
now
it written down here as well, just in case. My memory's not so good.
I think the difference that you're going to find, the Evo SL is definitely lighter, a lot more squishy. This one, to me, is you're getting a little bit of extra weight, but in that you're getting kind of like a little more versatility in the actual shoe. So while I'm addicted to the SL, this one has a purpose for me that's like I said, when I travel, this is the type of shoe I want that I can do. I'm not like him where he's saying, hey, the Evo SL picks up. I don't really use it for speed work. This one I would probably lend towards it. And when we're comparing it to other shoes in the category, the weight is really in a sweet spot. Like a lot of shoes, I don't know what's happening to daily trainers, but they're in ounces for the US folks out here. They're getting over 11 ounces. Like every shoe that a competitor put out this year is zooming above 11 ounces. So this feels a little sportier. It feels a little more nimble. I'd almost compare it to like a BMW suspension versus Cadillac or something like that.
And then, thank you for that. The second part is technically, would you kind of classify this? Because I feel like a lot of times we use the term a racer. Do you know what I mean? This is your race day shoe. But what is this kind of a shoe, say, if you just wanted to run a marathon as compared to racing a marathon? Because, say, you have someone that might be doing, a double dip like Boston into London next week. One of them is going to be maybe their more marquee one. But as compared to, I don't know, it might just be a little bit more of a chill 26. Is this a good chilling 26?
That's someone that's serious, the chill. Everyone's slightly different on how they run, right? Charlotte was talking about back in the day, the Adidas one was so low, you'd even talk people out of running unless they were the front 2% of the race. Adidas Pro now is so incredible that most people can run in, but this one truly does. It's built to train for races. Some of the stats. So if you take, was it last weekend, 2 weekends ago? There was the Berlin half marathon, just as a stat, and about 11% of finishers, the highest amount of finishers were in the Pro 4, and there was about 3 or 4% in the Boston. Right. So it gives you a point. And that's a half marathon, but it gives you the point. The people that want something that is more proven, a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more padding. You have something that is you can train for races to race in. Pro 4 is something that you race in. And then, of course, if you want to do your fast tempo sessions, you can do. So slightly different. It depends how many shoes and how much money you want to spend on your rotation. But this is,
Now, I'm going to quote Patrick Nava, who's not here, so he can't
might not
refute
be
it.
right.
But when I talked to him about it, I said, hey, is Adidas, everybody seems to be making that light race day shoe, like, hey, this is the 330 and above race day shoe. And I said, are you doing that at Adidas? And Patrick Nava was like, no, we've got the Boston. So, I mean, at least one person on your team thinks this is an alternative marathon shoe. Would you agree?
Is this
Disagree
on
with your
film?
boss on
It's on film.
Okay, no, then I'm just gonna say yes. Yeah, sure.
All right, there you go.
Thank you guys, appreciate it.
Yeah, let's do one more.
One more?
This side,
Yeah,
Come
you
on,
guys.
you're losing. It's like 5-0.
Just anybody. There we go.
So how do you pick launch day colors? Because it's the first time we see these things, and it's the first impression. So for somebody that isn't like a heavy duty runner and just wants something that looks nice, what kind of thought goes into launch day?
So on colors, it's a bigger topic, I would say. We have a very big color team that has the different colors for the different months and the different launch time. Then we have stories like this story with EQT where we think, oh, we want to launch that colorway at a specific event to also create this space, right? To also create the story behind it and not just launch any color that you would then just buy. But we have a big team, also the go-to-market team, which decides, okay, which color would be the best. So it's a very political conversation. I usually step out of that one. But yeah, I would say a lot of focus is on the packs that have a story behind it. That's when you can create a nice story.
Cool, thank you.
I've seen some leaks of some pretty cool colorways.
Cool.
Just saying.
I will say, in the Evo SL, I've seen some really, you've consistently put out some really nice colorways of that shoe. I feel like that has endless possibilities. I think that's pretty much it. We're going to wrap it up. I'm trying to find the card that tells me what I'm supposed to say.
Yeah, snacks and drinks and swag.
All right. All right, so I'm just going to read this.
This was, are you going to say it's written by Matt Silich?
Yeah, the PR team really knocked it out of the park with these cards we didn't use.
Sorry, Matt. I didn't bring my readers.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining us to celebrate the launch of the Boston 13. Our team is going to remain in the space until around 7:30 or 8 o'clock to meet and greet and take photos. You can come and find us and chat with us by the Adi Zero photo wall behind the escalators, also known as stairs since they stopped moving, which is back there.
I think that was making the alarm noise.
Yeah. Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
That's good. So we're stuck here. Can't get out.
I think they'll turn
I don't
them
know
back
how
on.
to use stairs if they're
They'll
not.
turn them back on.
Yeah. Refreshments and snacks are downstairs for anyone interested. And so if you are here through Believe in the Run, for the 50, we had like an RSVP for 50 people. If you were part of that, you would have gotten an email about it. You should have received a wristband at the door, and before you leave, there's a special gift downstairs. It's one of our 2024 shoes of the year. Like, it was shoe of the year, like all around shoe.
Well, 16 people are going to get a surprise.
Well, hold on. So all 50 are going to get the Adidas Adi Zero SL2. So that's the like all around, just do it all great daily trainer. I love that shoe. And then an additional select few of you might receive a second surprise in the bag.
That would look similar to one of these put together.
Yeah. Can't imagine what it would be. Yeah, you actually just get all the parts and then a bottle of super glue. And then, yeah, there's also t-shirts available. Do you want to rip your shirt open or no?
I think some of them. No, I don't.
Yeah, don't.
I got buttons.
No one needs that.
There we go. This gentleman right here,
Stand up,
Ryan Haynes, editor,
Yeah.
assistant editor for the website. This is why the painting makes sense. Now,
They're clapping for you, right?
now, funny enough, those did arrive. So, yeah.
Hopefully those were not stolen. But yeah, so you can grab one of those as well.
I think they're limited.
Are they?
Yeah.
All right, so fight amongst
Yeah.
yourselves.
Those who ask questions should definitely.
Yeah, to the front of the line. But thank you so much for coming out. This has been awesome. It's just a great way to kick off the weekend. I know there's so many amazing events all over town, so that you chose to come here really means a lot.
It does. And one of the greatest feelings I've maybe ever had was when we turned the corner coming up from the elevator and seeing this space, knowing that we were going to have an audience tonight and that they actually put our logo on something. I was like, wow, Adidas has gone all out.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate everything that you guys have done. Every time that we get to interact with you and see a new product, it's like Christmas for us. So thank you so much for having us and letting us share this with everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Give a good stretch, got my laces tied. My trusty podcast by my side.